Alright, this as a starter, now I would like to give the word to Charles Eisenstein, who wrote this wonderful book, Ascent of Humanity, and also is writing now a new book. Charles. Please welcome Charles.
Thanks, Tom. I think I'll sit out front here. That's okay for the camera and stuff. Sure. I just have a couple thoughts about the gifts that you were asked to bring, and Tom suggested that you give them to somebody you don't know. In the Mali culture, people don't actually very often give gifts to total strangers, but gifts have the function of bonding communities together. In fact, you can't have community without having gifts flowing among people. If your entire life is nothing but money transactions, then you don't really have community. If you meet all of your needs through money, then you don't have community because you don't need anybody. Because, say maybe you grow my food or you provide some service and you provide some other service. Well, I don't need you. I can just pay somebody else to do it if I have money. But in a gift economy where money is not used for many things, then you actually need somebody. The way that you create bonds in a gift economy is by giving. And a gift economy was most human economies up until the last couple centuries. To refuse a gift in such a world was considered a mortal insult, because basically refusing a gift said, I don't want to be part of your community. I don't want to be part of yourself, of your family. So I would suggest, because gifts create a bond, they create a tie, or you could say an obligation. And the word obligation actually means to put a tie on somebody, to create a tie. I would suggest that instead of giving it to some total stranger who you'll never see again, give it to somebody who you would like to create a bond with. Because when you give a gift, when you receive a gift, let's put it that way, when you receive a gift, what do you feel if it's a true gift? You feel gratitude, right? You feel thankful. And what's gratitude? Gratitude is the knowledge that you have received and the desire to give in turn, the desire to give of your gifts. That's what gratitude is. Gratitude is the default state of the human being. We are born into gratitude. Why? Well, because we're born completely helpless. We're born these naked, totally helpless little blobs of flesh that can't do anything but shit and cry, basically. You have nothing to offer anybody when you're born. You're just a little bundle of need. Yet, you get taken care of. You get fed, you get clothed, you get protected, all of your needs are taken care of. And it's not because you're doing anything in return. You're new to the world, you can't do anything. You have, at that moment, nothing to offer. This experience, and even if you had a very traumatic childhood and it wasn't, and many of your needs weren't met, at least your basic physical needs were met, or you wouldn't be living here today. And probably you received a lot of love along with these physical embodiments of love. And so this experience is written into our cells. And when we touch upon it, we're grateful to be alive. What do we do to deserve being alive? Life itself is a gift. It's a gift that we're here and living. So we have an instinct to want to give. We want to give from the gifts that we have received. Not only the gift of life, but also the talents and skills and good fortune and all of the abilities that we have, that we want to give from. What are they here for? What do we have these abilities for, and what do we have our lives for? Something inside knows that it's to give. One piece of evidence for that is that if you are engaged in an occupation that doesn't engage your gifts, you're going to feel half dead. If you are a very creative person and your job is, inputting data or pushing a mop, and it doesn't even matter how much money you get paid. If it doesn't engage your gifts, you're going to hate your job. The second part of that is that what are your gifts meant for? They're not just meant to be engaged. They're also meant for a beautiful purpose. They're meant to go towards something that you find beautiful, that you find fulfilling. Well, then you will find it fulfilling. It's something that they're meant to go towards something you believe in. That's why that even a job that's challenging won't be satisfying very long if it's not for something you believe in. This is what happened to me when I was in my 20s. I lived in Taiwan and I was a translator. And at first I loved that work because it was engaging my gifts, and I was learning a lot and developing and growing, and it was challenging work. But then at one point, I thought, the only reason that I care about this work is because I'm paid to. Like I was translating, corporate brochures and marketing things and being very creative with what I was doing. But I fundamentally didn't care about it. And it became excruciating, painful to do this translation. I began to think, okay, how much money am I making per minute, as I do this? And I would use that to motivate myself. And I had this moment of panic one day when I thought, I'm only doing this because I'm paid to do it, because I only care about it because I'm paid to care about it. When do I get to do something that I really care about in my life? When do I get to live my life and not somebody else's life that I'm paid to live? And that's what launched a very long period of search before I found what it was that I really wanted to do and to engage my gifts. So I've kind of touched on the role of money, because it was money that motivated me to do something that somebody else cared about, but not me. So we have this impulse for generosity. When we see a person in need, we want to meet those needs. If you see a hungry person, you want to give. If you see something happening in the world and you think it could be done in a more beautiful way and you think that it's being done wrong, it's your first impulse, or it's my first impulse, and I think this is true of many people. My first impulse is, I want to do something about it. I want to give my time, I want to give my money, I want to give my abilities to creating this more beautiful world. And our hearts know that a more beautiful world is possible. As teenagers, we all know it. And then the voices all around us say, no, the world is really pretty much just this way. This is what's normal. And if it were really supposed to be better, people wouldn't be spending their time talking about football and Britney Spears. But we know that a more beautiful world is possible. And we desire to contribute our gifts to it. But there's this little voice that says, can I afford to? I can't afford to do that. I can't afford the time. I can't afford the money. And I think that anybody who's tried to do something in a really beautiful way will have run up against this money barrier. And I think you also know the term a sellout, right? If you say, oh, this artist is a sellout, this musician is a sellout, that means that they've somehow mortgaged their gift for money. And it's not a compliment when you call somebody a sellout.